Hi everyone, thank you for being here. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about my ambitious November TBR. I want to model every single month after my best reading month of the year. So my best reading month is where I happen to finish 13 books in that month, which is insane for me. So I want to read 13 books this month too, which you'll see in my wrap-up video. I didn't do that last month, so I'm hoping this month is better. Without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so first off I want to read This Time Will Be Different by Misa Sugiura. This is a contemporary book about a Japanese American family who our main character's name is CJ, and she and her mom don't really get along because her mom is a very type A personality, whereas CJ is very much like artistic. She likes to work in their family's flower shop. That's what she finds something that she's really good at. She enjoys doing it until one day her mom decides to sell the flower shop to a family who swindled her grandparents during the time where Japanese American families were put into internment camps during World War II. So CJ finally finds something that's worth fighting for. So I'm really excited to read this. I really like hard-hitting contemporary, so hopefully this is going to be a good one. Next up we have The Astonishing Color of After by Emily X.R. Pan. This is a contemporary book with a little bit of magical realism. It's about a girl who believes beyond all doubt that her mother has become a bird after she committed suicide. She has a lot of guilt about it because as she was kissing a boy, her mother was taking her own life. So, trigger warnings for that in there definitely. So she decides to go to Taiwan to go meet her maternal grandparents and develop bonds with them, and she ends up uncovering family secrets while in search of finding her mother as her incarnation as a bird. This sounds like it's gonna make me cry. I'm so ready for it. I want it to happen. And I feel like I'm just going to absolutely love this book so much. I feel like it's gonna become one of my new favorites of all time. So I'm really hoping that it does. Okay, moving on. Next up we have More Than This by Patrick Ness. I don't know what this is about. I'll tell you what I know. Basically our main character's name is, I think his name's Seth. Yeah, Seth. He drowns. He remembers dying. He wakes up and he hasn't died. He wakes up naked, thirsty, and hungry, but alive. And, or so he thinks. We kind of go through the story of with him trying to figure out whether he is in the afterlife or whether he has passed away. So that's really all that I know. The only reason why I bought this is because of the fact that I recently read A Monster Calls this year, and it has become my favorite book of all time. So I wanted to read more by Patrick Ness, and this was at my local used bookstore, so I picked it up. Next we have Emergency Contact by Mary H.K. Choi. This is about a girl named Penny and a boy named Sam. Penny kind of lived a life that she didn't really like in her hometown. She kind of had a boyfriend that didn't really know her. She didn't really know him. Her friends weren't that good. She goes to Texas to pursue being a writer at a college, and she ends up bumping into Sam. Sam is having a really hard time with life right now. He is working at a cafe, and he's also sleeping at that cafe. He wants to become a movie director. And they're both going through mental health issues at the time. I'm not really sure which ones, or else I would say it, but I think one is anxiety. I'm not sure. And they end up bumping into each other, and they end up becoming each other's emergency contact, saying like, hey, if you can't go to anyone else and you're having mental health issues, I'm here for you. And then they end up becoming inseparable, and through there a romance ensues. So I've heard mixed things about this. Don't really know if I'm gonna like it. I hope I do. I think I'm going to. Moving on. Next is The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. This is a thriller, and I think instead of me trying to explain it to you, I'm just gonna read the synopsis because that's what pulled me into it. So I'll read it to you. So it says, nearly 25 years ago, police were called to 16 Cheyne Walk with reports of a baby crying. When they arrived, they found a healthy 10-month-old safe and sound in the upstairs bedroom. In the kitchen, the 3 dead bodies, all dressed in black, were seemingly posed next to a hastily scrawled note. The 4 other children reported to live at Cheyne Walk were gone. If that doesn't pull you in, then I don't know what will, but I really want to read this. So I wanted to read this in October for spooky season, but I didn't get to it, so I'll read it this month and hopefully still live through some of my spooky feelings. What do we have next? Next is What's Left of Me by Kat Zhang. I read this book when I was, I think, 13. It's been a while, so I guess technically it's a reread, but I'm not really counting it as one just because of the fact that I don't really remember what happened. This book is basically about a time in the future where people who, when they're children, they have a recessive soul and a dominant soul, and it's kind of a normal thing until they turn like 13, and then the recessive soul ends up leaving until one day, with their main characters, it doesn't leave. And then they have the whole government after them, you know, so they want to get testing done. They want her, the recessive soul, to leave. So I remember really liking it when I was 13. Once again, that was 7 years ago, so who knows if I'm still going to enjoy it, but hopefully I do. Next is The Conference of the Birds by Ransom Riggs, which is the 5th book in the Miss Peregrine's series. So, I can't really explain this book because it would spoil it, so I guess I'll explain the first book. It's about, our main character's name is Jacob, and after following a extremely tragic family accident, he is on a boat to Wales to go and pursue Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. And when he gets there, he kind of finds a rundown orphanage, feels like it's been abandoned, looks like it's been through bombs and everything. He's kind of like, oh, maybe they were dangerous instead of peculiar, until he is confronted by these children, and then 5 books later, we're still following him and them. So the really cool thing about the series too is that there is, like, if I can actually find them, photos in every single one. So there's like spooky photos, and it's really cool. It's a really cool element to add to the story, and it really pulled me in when I was like 12. So I've been reading this for a very long time. I really liked the first 2 books. I hated the 3rd book. I liked the 4th book. Now I am nervous for the 5th book, and it is quite a lot shorter than the other books too, so I'm a little bit nervous going into that. Next we have Chamber of Secrets. I'm going to reread it this month. I've been doing a slow reread of it, and I feel like I should also say that I don't support her anymore at all. I don't like J.K. Rowling. I do, however, like Harry Potter, and although I'm probably never going to not have this series, I'm not going to continue to put money into a TERF's pocket. So while I do love Harry Potter, I don't support her anymore, and I will not be buying any more Harry Potter merch. So just wanted to put that out there. Next we have Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil by John Berendt. This is a non-fiction true crime novel about a crime that happened in Savannah, Georgia. I don't even know what year it was. It wasn't recent. And in the town's biggest mansion, there were shots heard in the middle of the night, and no one knew where it came from. No one knew what happened, and it kind of remained unsolved. And John Berendt kind of puts us through like the whole story and everything and kind of what happened. I like Savannah, Georgia a lot. I've always wanted to go there because of all the haunted history. So whenever I find a book that has Savannah in it, I always just want to pick it up because I'm like, okay, I want to go there. I love the whole history of that town. So I wanted to pick this up. Alright, next is Charlie Bone and the Blue Boa by Jenny Nimmo. This is the 3rd book in the Children of the Red King series, which is a middle grade series about a group of children who go to Bloor Academy who all are descendants of the Red King, which basically means that with that you have special gifts. So our main character Charlie, he can look into photographs and touch them. He can feel what people were saying and what was going on at the moment that the photograph was taken. So it's a really cool book. That's what the main first book is about, him going to the academy and meeting other people. With that being said, trigger warnings for family abuse because his family is awful, horrible. His aunts in particular. So they are extremely abusive towards him. So just know that before going in. Next we have Old Magic by Marianne Curley. This is a book about witches. And our main character, Kate, cannot stop looking at the brand new student named Jared. She is so mesmerized by him and she doesn't know why, until one day when he's getting bullied during class, he unleashes a storm in the middle of the classroom. And Kate, who is a witch, says like, hey, I think that you're a warlock. And he doesn't really believe her, but he kind of puts up with it just because he is so entranced by her as well. Until one day he kind of can't deny anymore that he may have powers and that he may need Kate's help. I love books about witches. I'm so excited about this. So my bookmark fell out. So yeah, I'm excited for this. Next we have Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon. I know, I'm very, very late to reading this book. I feel like everyone on BookTube has read this besides me. It became a huge thing when the movie was coming out, but I just never got to it. It's about this girl who is kind of like allergic to the world. She can't leave her house. She can't do anything. She has to stay inside all day. Until she sees a boy that moves in next door and she can't help but fall in love with him. And it's kind of their story about how she can't even touch him, but she's in love with him. And I'm ready to be destroyed by it. Okay, and then the last book I want to read this month is Kingdom of Souls by Raina Barron. This is a fantasy novel about a long line of really powerful witch doctors until our main character, Aura, doesn't develop her powers. She doesn't know where they are. She doesn't have them. And then once her parents start disappearing and a lot of children in her kingdom start disappearing, she ends up trading years of her life for powers to save everyone. And then with that becomes a giant betrayal. That is not a spoiler. It is in the synopsis on Goodreads. So I'm very excited about this. That's everything. It's a lot. I feel like I'm able to handle it though because it's a lot of contemporary. So maybe I'll be able to do it. You will see it in my wrap up. So anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like it and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!